Today on Community Watch, I have a conversation with Dr. Maurice Wilson, professor of math at Georgia Highlands, who was also the director of Foundation Camp this summer. It's 18th year this year. You want to hear this conversation with Dr. Wilson, don't go away. Community Watch starts now. Welcome to Community Watch. I am very happy to have with me today Dr. Maurice Wilson. Welcome to Community Watch.
Thank you. I'm glad you invited me.
We are going to talk about Foundation Camp because you are the new director of the camp. I don't know if I should congratulate you for that or not. But I'm so happy you were willing to do that. And we'll talk about Foundation Camp, of course, but you are a math professor at Georgia Highlands, but you also have a long history of community work. And so I thought maybe you could kind of give us some of the highlights of that as a way to introduce you to folks.
All right. Again, my name is Maurice Wilson. I live in Cartersville. Currently, I'm president of New Frontier Bartow County Incorporated, which is an African-American civic organization. Very similar, started in 1962, very similar to 100 Black Men of America. When you look at the vision and mission, you see the same type of things, which is mentoring and politicians selecting the best candidate each time and making access for everyone. So in that role, we work with young men, trying to make sure that we're mentoring them, show them, not necessarily by modeling, just really talking a lot about the fact that we make mistakes and don't let your mistakes define you. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, I also work in the after school program at Summer Hill. Summer Hill was the only African-American school back in the 60s. And right now they bring in kids from the Etowah Housing Authority and just come and get help with homework. I help with math, and there's a bunch of great teachers there. I just kind of pop in 2 days a week to provide just different resources for them. I do SAT preps in Bartow County. I am offering tutoring. Right now I'm working with a couple of young men on ASVAB, trying to get them ready to go to the Navy, and just try to really give back. I felt like I got a lot out, so I want to make sure I give a lot back in.
Now you were also involved in a program at Kennesaw when you were there.
Yes.
That's not unlike what we have at Georgia Highlands, so it's somewhat similar anyway.
It is. The program there was, I just lost the name of it.
Distinguished.
There we go. Distinguished Black Gentleman. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, so I actually was a faculty advisor to them, and it was Kennesaw State University's response to the African American Male Initiative. The goal, as you know, was to increase graduation rates amongst African American males. We did mandatory study halls, we met as groups, we went on trips together, very similar to what Brother to Brother is doing at Georgia Highlands. Some of the challenges that I faced in that role was forgetting, I guess, as when I was a student, that I still wanted to have a social side, but now as a faculty, I expected them to be all about business. So they were like, no, Dr. Wilson, we don't want to do that. No, Dr. Wilson, we don't want to do that. But yeah, then after, just sitting down thinking about it, okay, yeah, they do need to have some fun as well. But the whole purpose of that, and it was a great time working with those young men. I did that for 8 years. Great time working with these young men, but it was just really trying to encourage them and show them that although you're going to have fun in college, the main purpose of college is to graduate. So let's have some fun, but let's also do our schoolwork. And we try to set them on schedules where they could spend some time doing work first and then get ready to do other activities.
Well, given what you've done in the past and what you're currently doing, I have to just apologize for not connecting you to Foundation Camp years ago. I don't know how that's terrible oversight, which I can't take full blame for,
Yeah,
but I'll
yeah.
I'll take partial blame for it. But I'm really glad that you were willing to work with the camp this year.
Yeah. I was really excited, and I was impressed when I found out that Georgia Highlands College offered a foundation camp. And that was one of the things that I guess my biggest takeaway from foundation camp this year was, okay, we need to make sure everyone's aware of this, because this is an awesome camp. And I, being at Georgia Highlands, this was my 4th year back, had not heard of it. And even when I was in Floyd College, I guess that was 2002, fall 2002.
We didn't exist. Or
Okay.
the camp did not
Okay.
exist then. It
All right.
started in 2006.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, in all this time, I had never known, and I do live in Bartow County, so that's another reason that maybe I didn't know, but I actually was trying to push it and get people known to know about it on the Cartersville campus.
We should probably, since you're talking about people not being aware, I think we probably should stop and tell people what it is now,
Yeah.
in case there are a few out there that don't know. And it is a 2-week summer camp for boys that is created through a partnership between Georgia Highlands and the 100 Black Men of Northwest Georgia. And this year was year 18. So,
Oh, wow.
so every summer except one summer during COVID,
Okay.
it has been offered free to boys ages 10 to 14. And we had about 90
Yes.
90 young men attend this summer on the days when we had our highest attendance. And I think we have hit 100 or close to 100, but it's still very well attended
Yes.
every year. So you have I think the benefit, and we need to have this conversation, not necessarily on the show, but eventually anyway, because since I have been involved with it over many years,
Right.
I don't even see the problems anymore. I mean, they're so part of the tradition.
Right.
But you coming in fresh and seeing it, with a new vision, can probably help us improve it based on what your experience was this year.
Right.
But
I think actually, sorry to interrupt you, but
please.
I think it was a great camp. Anything that input and notes that I've taken down doesn't change the aspect of it. I think it's a well-designed, well-run camp. The young men were wonderful. The only thing that even in my notes and writing stuff down, it was just trying to have a more formalized process. That was really it. It was not changing the scope of it, the sessions of it, offering various sessions, but the day-to-day was going to be good. Yeah. This camp is, and as you know, the counselors who actually were campers at one time, this camp is awesome. We can see the benefit of this camp in the lives of these counselors that we now work with this year. Mm-hmm. And one of them actually wrote to me today asking if I would serve as a reference for him. I said, of course I will. That would be awesome. So I see the progress, I see the input, the dedication, the work, and then you get to see the outcome. And it's really good. I really wish people could see the whole journey of it from the beginning, and hopefully they will by looking at some of the videos that we have online and listening to the testimonies of these counselors who were once campers.
Yeah. We haven't even had a website really, right. But now the college is building one with the help of Brian, who's sitting here keeping us on track, and Jeff Brown and others, and it's looking pretty good. Yes, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it.
I have. I really like it.
Yeah. So that will give folks, I think, a sense of why it's different than other camps, or ways that it's different. But I am curious about your thoughts, just coming in. I mean, we did have some conversations, of course, before the camp started, but on those actual first days, I'm glad you didn't run screaming. But it is it's a loud group, but you enjoy that part of it as well, really.
Right. Yeah. They're a different generation, and this generation is technology savvy. This generation is all into, I guess, not doing a lot of hands-on type things, just really kind of looking through, navigating through their phones. But that wasn't the camp, that's the generation. So my adjustment was working with a large group of young men in this age group.
Yeah.
That was the big thing, because the groups that I'm working with now in Bartow County, 10 to 20 kids. And now we have 90 kids, and you're going, okay, I'm gonna need you all to sit down, settle down. And just trying to navigate that aspect of it, and making sure that we make connections with them. And I kept saying to you as well as the counselors that we're gonna positively impact their lives of these young boys one day at a time. And that's all we wanted to do, was just each day make their life a little better than it was the day before. Each day I wanted them to behave better, to engage more day by day. And it worked. It worked because of the work that you put in. It worked because of the counselors. I just came in, I didn't lay anything new. So from my view, this was already working. I just came in saying, oh, let me jump in and join the work.
Did you get a sense, because I think this is the intent, or one of the intents of the camp, but did you get a sense that the campers, the young men who attended, evolved over the 2 weeks?
Yes. And I have an example of that. A young man who was 10, who had a lot of grief and turmoil in his life, I think came that first day and got disgruntled about a situation and used profanity. And I thought, whoa. And then let's fast forward to the last day of camp. He makes a comment and immediately turns around to me and says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. And I thought, we did it. Because at the very beginning, he said whatever he wanted to say to whoever he wanted to say it with no remorse. And at the end, he's apologetic. Although he said it, he apologized and said, I'm just so used to saying this. And I said, I understand, but that's impact.
Yeah.
He's changed. So as long as we can continue working with the young men in this way, they're going to change.
Well, in a minute or so, we're coming up on our first break. We're going to talk about needing donations for this camp, and we'll get to that because the camp is free to the campers, but it is not free.
Right. Yes.
And we have to raise a certain amount of money every year to keep it going. So we're going to talk about that, of course. But I do want to also talk about some of the sessions that you felt were most effective or most impactful, which will also give folks, I think, a sense of what the camp is like. Because it is not just athletics, which I think a lot of summer camps are, and it's not just academics either.
Right.
There are camps of that kind as well.
Yeah.
It's a combination of different things.
The athletic sessions were great because they were different. The kids are learning how to play disc golf or soccer, sports that they may not play or activities they may not do in their own neighborhood. Dissecting the sharks. And I tell you, one of the sessions I really enjoyed was having a previous camper who's now an investigator come and talk.
Right.
That was very informative.
Yeah, Cameron Mathis.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because he gave some real good insight and told them, hey, I was here.
Yeah.
I grew up in the same place as you grew up. So it started showing them the thing that I've said to so many kids: where you are now is not where you have to be for the rest of your life. And they saw someone who came from the same place they live, and now he's doing this.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope that inspired them and motivated them to say, okay, let me look at a different avenue. Let me stop getting in trouble so much in school. Let me just focus more on my schoolwork, because the sky's the limit for these kids.
Well, we need to take a break. We'll talk more about Foundation Camp when we get back. Please don't go away. We'll be back after this.
The most affordable bachelor's degree in Northwest Georgia is right here at Georgia Highlands College. High quality and career focused. That's what you can expect at GHC. Apply today at highlands.edu.
Welcome back to Community Watch. I'm having a conversation with Dr. Maurice Wilson, professor of math at Georgia Highlands College during the regular school year, but in the summer, director of Foundation Camp.
Yes.
And when we took the break, you were talking about some of the sessions that you felt were especially impactful. You mentioned Cameron Mathis, who had been a camper when he was in that age,
Yes.
and is now a police investigator. So that was impressive. I know that there are academic classes. You mentioned the shark
Yes.
dissection. I think the hope is that maybe the camp will excite some interest that the campers will carry with them into the school year.
Right.
Were there any other academic experiences that you think might have had that kind of impact?
Yes, there was one Zach Johnston did with logic, because one of the things we're wanting the kids to do is to think critically. The 100 Black Men did how to introduce yourself, how to speak out, how to talk to someone. There was art, and these kids are excited carrying their art pictures under their arm as they're getting on the bus, going, look what I drew, look what I did. There was the film. That was really probably the one that stood out the most to them, where they actually got to record the fake slap and then the fallout and get to kind of see what acting is like. But you know, I think every session we had was beneficial to them. Mm-hmm. Some were to work with them on academics, some was to work with them in athletics, and then some was to try to change them internally, such as our anger management session we had. Right. We were really hoping that they would learn how to deal with their anger. You know, as I got home, I would talk to my friends and I would tell them, man, I never knew these young kids had so much grief and so many things have happened to them. And so helping them navigate that process, their life now, as they're dealing with loss or dealing with hurt in their lives at such a young age is really important.
It does seem like they are unwilling to let even the smallest transgression go.
Right.
You know, an accidental touch or all of those things can spark some kind of anger.
Yes.
And I'm not sure why that is, but it certainly is important to try to address it in some way.
They have a buildup of anxiety and anger. And, you know, I shared with one of the groups that I had similar things because of the relationship my mother had with her boyfriend when I was young. And because of that, I was afraid to say anything. So when I got to school, I took all my aggression out on the teachers. But the teachers had done nothing to me. But I felt like the teachers couldn't do anything back. It's just that buildup. Sometimes we don't want to deal with the person or the situation that actually is causing this issue. So we take it out on other cases. And that's what I saw with these young people, where they were upset about something else, and one person barely tripped them on accident, and they just lost it.
Yeah.
But after talking with the counselors, calming them down, it was different. So that's the beginning. End of the camp, I don't even think they even said anything. They got bumped into, and they just kind of looked like, oh, I'm sorry. And they're apologizing. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
okay, good, good. Because a few days ago, you were going to beat someone up. So, yeah, they started handling it better and dealing with their management, their
And
anger management better.
I also want to mention the swimming lessons,
Yes.
because the YMCA was great to
Yes.
help us with that. And you know, in a community like Rome that has 3 rivers, it seems like swimming would be a pretty essential skill to have. I mean, it is regardless, but
Right.
here especially. And I think that might be something that a lot of our campers had not had much of.
Well, they told us, and it was nice because the staff at the Y said, okay, who can really swim, who can kind of swim, and who can't? And they said, but no matter which category you're in, you're gonna have to prove to us that you can do it. And there was a lot of those that say, yeah, I can swim. And then you saw them get pushed 2 groups back. And I thought, okay, so you thought you could swim, but you really couldn't swim.
Yeah.
And then some were just honest and said, no, I don't know how to swim. But interesting, because I know adults who went through this camp who said to me, when I was telling them about the camp, they said, oh, that's where I learned how to swim. And I thought, wow, this is a big deal. That's one of the pullouts, is it teaches them how to swim.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, the camp has existed long enough where we do see campers that grow
Yes.
to become college students, college graduates, and now are back working at the camp.
Yeah.
So you do see the positives of what the camp can accomplish. The camp needs money to function.
Yes.
It is I think it's worth the money that it costs to put it on, but and honestly, the only employees of the camp that are paid are the counselors.
Right.
The college students or recent college graduates that we hire. And, you know, many of them are still in school, so obviously
Right.
need to work for some kind of salary in the summer. So that's one reason. And we want to reward, because their jobs are hard.
Yes, they are.
They work hard.
Yes.
But beyond that, for the most part, we're talking volunteers, college faculty, members of the 100 Black Men of Northwest Georgia, folks in the community, many of whom would not ordinarily work as volunteers, but because they believe in what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
But there are things, you know, those counselor salaries. We feed 2 meals, breakfast and lunch every day. This year it was 90 campers plus the staff. We took everyone to Lake Winnie on the last day. We have transportation, which, you know, we have to thank Rome City Schools.
Right.
They have been so gracious and kind to help us with transportation. But there's still a good bit that we need to raise money
Right.
for. So part of what we want to do in talking today is to encourage people
Yes.
to help us.
It's a great investment. If you have money to donate, no matter which amount you can donate, it's an investment. It's an investment in someone's life. It is definitely being used the right way. It is impacting, as we discussed. We saw the improvement in all aspects of the child. Everyone can give by going to the Georgia Highlands Foundation page. Hopefully we're going to have it on the site, so because it's a lot of ///, but we managed to get the foundation account to be the default category when someone goes on there and want to donate money. So they just need to go on, put the amount in, put their credit card information in, and hit submit, and it will go to the foundation account. So really encourage everyone. It is tax exempt, so you can actually write this off. And businesses, if you have money you're trying to build and put into the community and know that it's going for a great cause, please make sure that you actually donate.
And I think it's, and you mentioned community because, you know, if it's working right, and there's good evidence that it is, the camp does change lives.
Yes.
Positively. But in doing so, it also improves the community.
It does.
And helps the community.
Yes.
So an investment really is not only for the individuals who attend the camp, but for the community that donors live in.
Yes.
And to hopefully improve that community and grow it in the future.
It's allowing these kids to have a positive experience. Pulling them away from just sitting in front of a TV or just out on the basketball court, and allowing them to get back into the classroom. Getting to experience hands-on activities academically makes them better students, makes them graduates, makes them have a bigger impact in their community. So all of these things that they've experienced through this 2-week camp can benefit the entire county of Floyd County. So, and in other counties, wherever our students, because we had some young men that came from Bartow County.
Yeah.
So, yes, it is definitely a great thing. So, I put it on my Facebook page every time I made a post. I invited people to donate, to give whatever amount. I will continue to do that. Mm-hmm. But yes, and I will speak with some of my friends who are in business and things like that. Just check in with their companies. You know, everyone donates money. The organizations I talked about I'm a part of earlier, we get donations all the time for a couple of our events in Bartow County. So we're going to start asking different organizations, will they donate money to this foundation camp?
And of course, folks can reach out to us,
yes,
you know, to donate or to get instructions on how to
yes,
donate.
Definitely.
But it is a tremendous cause that's really working, I think, to make positive changes. And I want to thank you again for, you know, stepping up and directing the camp this year. I mean, I can't chase after kids quite the way I used to some years ago. So it's good having a young man like yourself.
Well, I was thinking I can't really chase out these kids either. But yes, it was really an honor and a privilege. I enjoyed this. Yeah. This was the highlight of my summer, and actually the highlight of my actual year. I sit back and always do a year in review, and this by far outweighed every experience I've had this year. And I just look forward to the future. I know this camp is going to get bigger, better, more involvement, more hands-on, bigger change with kids. I know these kids are going to continue to do outstanding things.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us. And we'll see you next time on Community Watch.